Mic check, mic check. It's your boy Sterling Christian on another episode of Superheroes Only Podcast. Welcome back again. Today, man, I have a special guest. Um, so a young man. I almost called him an old man because he older than me. Young man. I've been knowing since I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. For the last 8 years. Um, Anthony Jameson Smith. He was born in Columbus, Ohio. I'm sorry, Columbus, Georgia. Um, he stayed there most of his life until he moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Pastor Anthony was a basketball star growing up, a former police officer, former personal bodyguard for a few celebrities that you may know. Um, and then he also became a pastor. So he's definitely had a diverse life. So, we're going to welcome Pastor Anthony Smith, my pastor, Nehemiah, Conyers, Georgia. What's up, bro?
What's going on, man? First of all, let me say thank you for the opportunity, man. Definitely grateful for this moment. So I'm just ready to dive in, man.
Hey, well, listen, man, let's start from the beginning.
Let's do it.
You grew up in Columbus, Georgia, man.
Grew up in Columbus, Georgia. Columbus is, you know, kind of decent sized city.
Mhm.
And so, whatever you want to say, man, I did it. I was in the streets. Of course, God was able to preserve my life, and so I'm definitely living at a moment now, man, that I probably never thought I would be doing right now. So definitely eternally grateful for that.
Oh, yeah. So now a lot of people that don't know about Columbus, a lot of people just know about the military base.
Hmm.
Um, but if you know, just like any place in America, especially nowadays, Columbus is definitely hood. It's a lot going on right now. The past couple years. Um, so how has it changed? Because you grew up there, so you got to see um, a lot of things that happen. Um, good, bad. So what's the difference you think now and back then when you was growing up?
I think the difference now is pretty much, how the children are being raised now. We have so much what's called a latchkey kid, whereas when I was growing up, of course, my mother had 7 kids, so I was number 6. So never was I at home by myself. But nowadays, you got single parents that have to go to work, have to go to school, and the kids got their own key. They got their own access. So the culture has changed.
Mm,
So these kids now, man, 13, 14, at home raising themselves. And so whereas we had a sense of community, that's not there no more. We knew our neighbors. We had Miss Sally on one side. We had Mr. Robinson and Mama Annie on one side. So if I got in trouble before my mama got home, she already knew what was going on. And so we've lost that sense of community because people don't even know their neighbors no more.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, definitely. Respect is one of the things that's different now compared to back then.
Hmm.
Um, I know when I was growing up, it was a respect thing. You saw an adult, you show respect.
Right.
Um, you know, um, if you was smoking and you wasn't supposed to or drinking, you hit it when they came. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Now, if you curse, you didn't curse in front of them. Now kids don't care. They
Yeah.
just do
Yeah.
whatever. So it's like, oh, you ain't my mama. You know what I'm saying? You ain't my daddy. And then the mamas and daddies can't even do nothing with them now.
Right. Right.
So definitely been to Columbus a couple times because of you. Never been there before until you brought me there. But I know that was your start of growing
Yeah.
up. So now, with you being a pastor, did your mom make you go to church every Sunday? Were you in church every Sunday, or did she make you go to church at all? Or did you guys just kind of didn't have to go to church?
It was a mixture. So
Okay.
so my mom was religious, so we went to church. We went to some holiness churches. So,
Okay.
you know, in the holiness church, you gotta stay all day.
All day.
So the thing of it, you know, and then we didn't go.
Mhm.
And we did go.
Okay.
But then, you know, I kind of got to a point where I didn't need her to tell me to go. You know, church was across the street, so I would just get up on my own, go to the
Okay.
church, and you know, that's pretty much where I think my start came with having a sense of God.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So you wasn't one of the kids that was forced.
Nah, nah.
That's a good thing. A lot of us was forced.
Yeah, I remember you telling me like your mom and dad, like
Yeah.
you had to be in
Yeah,
it.
they were. My dad was a bishop. My mother was a pastor. They, my dad got. I believe he got ordained as a bishop in like '95. So I was like maybe 14 um, when he got ordained. But he was also a musician and he was one of the praise and worship and choir leaders. And then his father was a bishop. His mom was a pastor, and then my mother, her mom was a evangelist. Now her dad, he was gangster. He didn't go to church
Wow.
unless it was a funeral or it was a one time a year thing. Um, but yeah, we had to go. We had no choice. Um, and I think that's why I rejected it so much when I was a kid.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to, you know. Um, now you said it was 7 of you guys, siblings, right?
Right.
So how many brothers? How many sisters?
It was 4 boys and 3 girls.
Okay, and you said you was the sixth,
Yeah, number
so you was
6.
next to the youngest.
Right.
Okay, how was that, man? Sharing a house, man. Hand me downs, uh, sharing the same bed, same room, one bathroom. How was that?
Listen, you just said it, man. You know, that was life.
Mm,
But again, I think that's what made us who we are today. You know, you got people today, man, they couldn't function in a situation like that. So now, you know, I'm grateful for being able to come from something like that because it teaches me how to have balance in life. You know,
oh
I'm not one of the ones that gotta have, you know, big house on the hill. Just give me a good roof over my head and I'm good. You
oh
know,
yeah,
but all of the clothes you're right. Stuff that my brothers could wear when they didn't have to wear it no more, it got passed down all the way down to shoes. So but again, that's what makes us who we are.
mm,
That's what kind of shapes your reality to life.
oh yeah. Now I know you always talk about your love for basketball. Um, I got a big love for basketball, so we talk about that a lot. Um, how old were you when you knew that you wanted to be a basketball player? Like when did you pick up that ball and started playing? And then when did you really know you were good?
Well, I think it started in the backyard where we took a bicycle around, took all
Okay.
the spokes out,
Hmm.
took a piece of plywood, took a 2x4, and we made us a court. And so we put mop strings
Mm.
on the rim.
Man, that's ghetto.
We couldn't get no nets.
That's the ghetto right
So
there.
that was how we started, man. But I think, about growing up in the boys club, we had a lot of young guys in the neighborhood. And so everybody had talent. And I think it was just until I went out for the high school team. And, once I got on that squad, I kind of knew I had kind of some decent game. I ain't going to say I was like the star, but I was okay. I was all right.
Oh yeah. Now you played pretty much your whole life
Right.
until, well, as far as school, you played middle school, high school, and then even when you got out of school, you still continued to play.
Right.
Even once you became a man and started working, you
Yeah.
still would go to the courts and play tournaments, all of that stuff.
Still will go to the court. So that's when you become at the court, when you get older. So, but, you know, I had a love for the game. And, I think what helps us, and I kind of talked about this Sunday, that in life you're going to have distractions, detours, and delays. And so everything that I desired to do, that was my plan, but it wasn't God's plan.
Mm,
And so now when I look at my life, and I've been in ministry over 25 years, I truly have to say that's been the most successful thing that I've done out of all the things I've done in life, ministry. So, you know, you have to now go from wanting to be a LeBron in basketball to now you got to become maybe a LeBron in ministry, if that makes
Mm,
sense to you.
that was
And I
deep.
know LeBron your guy,
Yeah, man. I appreciate you.
so you know.
I appreciate it. So, uh, now speaking of ministry, okay. Matter of fact, before we even go to ministry, now I know you were in the streets a little bit too.
Hmm.
I feel like we all were in the streets a little bit. We did, you know what I'm saying? Something.
Right.
Now, do you feel like basketball kept you out of trouble
Oh man,
for
definitely.
for the most part? Because if it wasn't for like basketball and music, and of course, praying parents,
Yeah,
praying grandma parents, um, I feel like I would have did a lot more than I did. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Now, do you feel like you did some stuff, but do you feel like, okay, I could be out here doing this, but I want to go play basketball?
Well, I'll be honest to tell you that basketball probably kept me out of jail.
Mm,
And I had some friends who, did some stuff that one day they was coming to pick me up. And, I didn't go with them that day. I went to go play ball. And so they ended up really getting locked up for robbing a bank. And I could have been in that car.
wow.
So just being able to go play ball kept me. So all through that, it made sense of playing basketball kept me out of the streets. So I'll never forget when we first came into having the Midnight Basketball League. That brought gang members and everybody who was on the set. That brought everybody together, and we had to play on the same team. You was rated A player, B player, C player, and so you might have had a gang member from one side of town who was an A player.
Hmm.
You had another gang member from another side of town who was a B player.
Mm,
Well, they ended up on the same team. So at that point, we had to either discover that we're going to drop what was happening in the neighborhood
right,
and play ball, and that's what kind of changed a lot of what was going on then.
right.
So that it did. Basketball definitely kept me out of trouble.
Yeah. Sports definitely is something that brings people together. You know what I'm saying? Even when you arguing, you can have your favorite player, your favorite team, but it's something about when you at the game, even as a fan, you at the game, uh, you could be next to a Caucasian,
Yeah.
and y'all going for the same team.
Well, if
So
you can't take the trash talking, you probably don't
yeah,
need to get on the court. So
you gotta be able to take the trash talk. Some of the stuff I say, I wouldn't even let my parents hear what I say on the court,
wow.
and it be to some people I'm really tight with. If I'm playing against you, I'm competitive. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So now we're gonna fast forward it just a little bit. So you leave Columbus, move to Atlanta.
Hmm.
Now, how old are you when you moved here?
I'm in my 20s. I'm probably like 24, 25, something like
Okay,
that.
okay. So what made you move here?
More opportunities to come and be a part of the law enforcement community. In Columbus, you only had, you know, you had the Columbus Police, you had the Marshal Department, you had the Sheriff Department. But when I saw here in Atlanta, in the metro area, you had a lot of different places that the opportunity was so much greater.
Okay.
So that kind of brought me here.
Wow. So how was that transition to say, okay, I'm doing stuff in the street that's illegal to I want to become an officer? Because me, I never wanted to be an officer. I never liked officers. I despise the police. As a teenager, um, you've seen so many dirty cops
Hmm.
that you forget about the good cops. So when you come across a good cop, you still mad because he stopped you for speeding.
Right.
He really treating you good, but because you so worried as a black man and you like, man, they just pulling me over, they picking on me. So how does that transition happen to where you become a cop knowing you did some illegal stuff? Was it because you wanted to better like the environment? I know a lot of guys, especially our guys, our people, they say they become cops because it's not enough black officers.
Hmm.
So what made you want to become in law enforcement?
Well, a few different variables would be that number one, as a black young black man, that was a privilege
Mhm.
that we ordinarily did not get. Number two, I took criminal justice in high school,
Mm,
so I took criminal justice in college.
okay.
So when I finished college, it was like I need a job. So being that that's all I kind of knew, growing up in it, had some mentors who was in it, and the greatest lesson was I ain't want my mama take me to jail before you take me to my mama. So you know, um, but just being able to do something positive, and
Okay.
so you know, around Columbus, even then, I was able to go back to Columbus and become, the keynote speaker for some different programs, stuff like that, youth programs. So it was powerful to be able to make that change. And then one of the greatest things that I've encountered, even when I was out there on the beat, was to know that, man, I had some young people's lives in my hand, so I could help them in such a way. Because every situation you don't have to get locked up. So
Right.
there were many times that, hey, I was able to give some young people an opportunity to go home and make a better decision. So just being a black man, number one, it was a privilege. Number two, being able to help change the communities, and number three, like I said, it was kind of embedded in me without me even knowing. So being out there in the neighborhood, in the communities, it was a point where, you know how it is. You sometimes you become a result of your environment.
Right.
So you got to make that change and make a difference and want to get out. So that's what happened in my life.
Okay. So now, how long were you officer?
Man, I worked for about 7 years on the street, but I also worked in the detention centers. I did that for about 5 or 6 years before I became a cop.
Okay. So you had some experience
Yeah.
before you even hit that. So now after you stop being officer, I remember you told me that you started doing like private security, being
Yeah.
a personal bodyguard. Now, what made you stop being an officer? Why did you stop being a police officer? And then what made you decide to become, personal bodyguard slash, private security?
Well, I did the private security piece while I was an officer.
Okay.
So that was just like part time, being able to, make some more money and being able to, as a certified officer, you're able to get in and out of venues. If I was regular security, then there'll be some stipulation. So being a certified officer, I'm able to carry my weapon off duty, secure people and all that good stuff. So doing that, it just kind of came with the job. So working downtown Atlanta, you got stars coming out all the time. So
Right.
just being able to connect with them and work with them.
Right. I know one of the I know you've did a lot of security. How many stars would you say you've did security for? I know Scarface was one.
Scarf, I mean, dozens, man. We was able to also. It may not be your contract. You may work with somebody else under that
Right.
contract.
Right.
So dozens of them, man.
Okay.
Yeah, dozens of them.
Man, that's dope, man. That's dope. So now you you grow up in the ghetto, in the hood, single parent home.
No, no,
Not
no,
single
no, no,
parent,
no.
right?
My mom was married. Yeah,
Okay. Oh yeah, you had stepfather,
yeah,
right? Okay. So you grow up stepfather, which that's still it can be challenging as a child who is not their real parent,
right,
possibly depending on the child and depending on the parent.
right.
Um, but you grow up seven siblings in the hood, play basketball in the street, become an officer. Well, detention center officer, private security. Now, then you become a preacher.
Nah, the preacher came before that, before the officer stuff.
Wow. So my next question was going to be, when did you know that you had a calling to preach?
I think when I look back over life,
Mm-hmm.
you got to think about all of the stuff you got into that God kept you from.
Mm,
I mean, the shootings and running the streets, fighting, all that stuff, man.
right.
And then you look back and it's like, man, you got to give an account of it, but the police didn't get me for it,
Mm,
if that makes sense.
mm,
And so when life started really coming into sequence, that's when I felt the call. You know, I felt the call on my life. Um, I'm in church. I'm at work. I'm riding with a pastor. You know, me and my homeboy, and we still wilding out. We still doing everything. And
right.
so every day we got to ride with a pastor though. And so this pastor would be like, "Y'all want some lunch?" And be like, "Yeah." He said, "All right, he'll go buy lunch and then he'll take us to the church."
Oh wow.
We eat. So now I'm getting a view of both perspectives.
Right.
So after work, when I get home, I'm going back to the block, but I'm still remembering what he's been kind of imparting in us,
Wow. So he was setting it up
setting it
the
up
whole time.
whole time. But as a matter of fact, he bought me the first Bible that I ever owned. I still got it right now today. He bought it.
Oh wow.
He bought me that Bible.
Man, that's wow.
So in 1995 is when life changed. That's when I was, and crazy enough, it may not even seem like this, but I only ran the street for about 5 years
No, that's I mean,
after school, after college. Matter of fact, when I didn't get my scholarship, I went back to the street,
mm,
and so I only, I was kind of out there for like 5 solid years, and then it seemed like God was like, "All right, you done." Boom, He snatched me out the street.
wow.
So
Man. Now, how old were you when you you became a pastor of your first church?
I think the first church would have been. I think I may have been like maybe like. I should have probably been like 26 as an interim pastor.
Okay.
Fresh out the gate. And then from there, it evolved.
Okay. Which church was that?
That was the church. That was a church in Columbus.
Okay. Church in Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you became pastor at Miller's Chapel.
Miller's Chapel. That was
Right.
in like '07.
Okay.
Yeah, like
07.
like
So was that the
2007.
second church you became?
Well, Miller's Chapel would have been my first official
Okay.
church as a senior pastor.
Okay, because you were interim pastor at
Right.
the other church.
Right.
Okay. So you get the job at Miller's Chapel, right?
Yeah.
So now how do you feel? Like, okay, now I'm a pastor. How do you feel? Because
Man,
being a pastor,
nah,
like,
let's keep it 100. I ain't know nothing.
that's what I'm saying. So, cause like with my dad being a bishop, you know, being a leader, a pastor, you have a whole congregation of people,
Yeah.
a flock. You know what I'm saying? The sheep you gotta watch. So that's a lot of responsibility.
And see, I think even in today's time, man, people don't really realize what come with that level of responsibility. You got all these people lives in your hand, and it's a major situation. So, I think I'm grateful for the opportunity, but it wasn't my plan. It
Mm,
wasn't my plan to be no preacher. It wasn't my plan to be no pastor. None of that.
right.
And if God wouldn't bother me right now, I'll be in Miami on the golf course. So, yeah.
I got it. So now when you leave Miller's Chapel, um, do you start Nehemiah or do you go somewhere else?
No, no, Nehemiah, and this is what happens when God is in control of your life.
Okay.
I had always saw a vision of Nehemiah,
Okay.
and it was going to serve as an outreach ministry.
Mm.
And while being at Miller's Chapel, we was able to get the nonprofit um, 501(c) and all that good stuff, tax exempt status. And I think we have to be okay that sometimes God will interrupt your schedule to get you on His schedule.
Right.
And so there was no problems at Miller's Chapel. Ended up leaving, you know, on a technicality, but I mean, good people, no problem at the church. Church grew, and like I said, that was my first church, so I probably ain't even have a clue of how to pastor no church. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so, um, a lot of that becomes training ground for your life. You know, but good people, and Nehemiah was something that God was already had in store. So that's what we're at now, right now, living where we are right now.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So once Nehemiah, you officially opened the doors of your church, what year was that?
The same week I left Miller's Chapel.
Wow.
Yeah, the same week.
Okay.
But again, it just happened. It just happened. I can't even explain it other than God just put it in motion. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I had no intention on starting the church.
Wow. That's that's dope. Uh so now for me, I moved to Metro Atlanta 2017, uh February 26th,
Hmm.
2017. That following Sunday, that was my first time going to Nehemiah. I actually called you on a Wednesday. My boy from Florida, he told me about you. He said you needed a fill in that Sunday.
Yeah,
I met with you that Friday, came to the church, met with you that Friday, played a couple songs, pulled up to the church that Sunday. I played a couple Sundays and then left and then played at another church for about a year.
yeah,
Came back and I've been there ever since.
yeah.
Um and I think one of the reasons uh one of the reasons I stayed before I even knew God was telling me to stay, one of the main reasons was just because you was just real. You didn't care about being popular. You was doing outreach ministry. You didn't care about recording. You was giving away bikes to kids. In December, you like I seen you give to the homeless on your 50th birthday
Yeah.
in Columbus. You bought Little Caesars pieces. You bought about 20, 30 pieces, and you gave away clothes and pizza on your
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah.
When you when people expect to receive gifts, um, you was giving away gifts.
Man, that's major because you think about it. I mean, how much stuff we got at home right now
Right.
that we probably don't even wear no more. Brand new stuff. I got brand new stuff. I'm gonna do it some more. I got brand new stuff, tags on shirts and stuff that you don't even wear. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it just makes sense to always be in a mode of giving. You know what I'm saying? That's I don't know no other way to see it. I think a lot of time we look at church. Church has gotten so overrated now that everybody want a church. Every church want to be the church. Every
Mm,
church want the best praise team.
mm.
Every church want the best musician. And so it's like, man, when we just gonna put God back where He's supposed to be?
Wow. And that's crazy because that was my next question. My next question that I wrote down was what is the reason or why it seems that the church is failing the world right now?
Well, I think you know, I think it's just everybody, and I talk about it a lot of time. Everybody's so busy, doing them. They doing themselves, and they're not doing God like we supposed to do it.
Right.
Getting out here, man, and really getting out, helping people. And I see churches that are doing some outreach, but everything is on a bigger scale. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, if you getting a grant for $1 million, you supposed to be feeding people. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, ain't no shade or no hate or nothing like that. It just, and I always say it this way: to whom much is given, much is required. So, if you got a large church and you got money coming in like that, then you should be out here doing way more than smaller ministries.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's where the church has gotten to the point where it's a gimmick. It's all about show. Um, we know it takes money to run a ministry too, but it's all about money. It's all about being flashy. Um, when the scripture also says, in the last days, men will become lovers of themselves. I ain't even gotta say the
But we
rest of the
here.
scripture.
We are here
We
right now.
definitely here,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think that's one of the reasons why I stayed at Nehemiah too. Even before God told me to stay, it was more like, oh yeah, this is the type of ministry I want to be locked in. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, it just reminded me of my father ministry because they did the same type of stuff. Like my father don't even want to pass the anniversary. He hate when they do it.
It's
They have
tough.
they have to force him. It's just he's like, nah, don't celebrate me, celebrate
Yeah.
God. You know what I'm saying? Even though you may deserve it, but I feel like that's one of those things. But yeah, man, shout out to you, and shout out to the Nehemiah family.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, we there, man. We rocking, standing strong. So now I want to talk about something a little more personal. So I want to talk about fatherhood because you have two daughters.
Hmm.
So you're a girl dad like me. So what does fatherhood mean to you?
Man, fatherhood to me, number one, again, I think God chooses people sometimes, you know, and ain't a whole lot you can do about it.
Right,
So when you have a kid, one thing you can do as a man is take care of it to the best of your ability.
right,
So, being able to just exist now to be able to say, hey, maybe I could have done more, you know what I'm
right,
saying? And I don't know. I think all I know to do now is have that sense of protection and security that when they need me, I'm there.
mm,
That's because you at this point you got a co-parent.
right, right,
So when you get into the whole dynamic of co-parenting, that's a whole nother show.
right,
But I'm grateful for the opportunity, um, and just to be able to see them excel in life and go further than I did.
right, right,
Yeah,
right, right. I know you have one grown daughter and then
yeah.
one younger daughter. What's the ages?
Well, the oldest she's 23, and Ansley she just turned 11 this weekend.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. So that's dope, man. That's a big gap too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So now also we'll talk about you just got married less than a year ago.
yeah,
Um so that came with three more bonus daughters, as they say. I
yeah,
don't like to say bonus or step. I like to say daughter. If I marry you, I just feel like that's my child. But
pretty much. Yeah.
it's the technical term. Um, so now you meet your wife, now wife. So how do you know she's the one? When you first meet her and you start dating, how do you know?
Well, you ain't even got enough time for this. We gonna cut across the field. I think having gone through this before, it's tough.
Right.
So for me,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I said, and I hope this will help somebody. I got tired of picking. I was like, man, you know what?
Mm.
Clearly my picker off. So I was like, I said,
Oh
God,
man.
I ain't picking no more. So I was like, if you do this,
Mm.
it's gonna be done by you. And so I made up in my mind, I was like, I'm done. I'm just gonna promote my book and move on. I was like, I desire to have a family like that.
Okay.
But then I said, if God want me to have that, then He gonna have to give it. He gonna have to give it to me. And so here's what I said. I said, God, as the word says, he who findeth a wife
Mm-hmm.
finds a good thing and obtains favor.
Right.
All right. But I said to God, I said, God, you need to present her so that I can find her.
Mm.
See what I'm saying? Sometimes sometimes we running around, man, and we're looking for this type of woman, that type of woman, all that kind of stuff, and all that should be out the window because your type gonna get you in a whole lot of trouble. So at the end of the day, that's the prayer that I prayed because it was tough. It was tough going through what I went through. So to be a man in ministry, listen, you can't be running around here no single pastor, not forever. That ain't gonna fly.
Ooh.
And that just keeping it real.
That's real.
So to have somebody that God can fashion to fit your life.
Right.
And sometimes we get connected to people that it look good, but it don't fit the criteria that God has for you.
Mm.
So, I wasn't looking for, but God allowed me to connect with her. And as I always tell y'all, this book right here, she gonna buy this book. She didn't buy that book that night, but she gonna buy this book one day. She got to spend her own money on this book.
Man, that's crazy.
I'm sticking to it. But that's it, man. I think now just life is kind of on the wavelength that God wants it on,
Right.
and He's in total control. So that's where we are now.
That's dope. And you said something too that was important. You said being a pastor and being out here single. That's crazy because when my mother was on her dying bed, she told my father, she said, when I die, she said, get married in 9 months. She says, so you don't be single and
Wow.
be out here doing ministry by yourself. You need a woman of God to help you, and she didn't want my dad to be single. And like literally, my dad waited longer than 9 months, but he got married and he was 68, I believe, when she passed.
Yeah.
And now he's 78. So married a woman of God. And so I feel like that's super important because being in ministry, when you got a head position like that, you already know church is full of women.
Yeah.
It's gonna be more women than men.
Yeah.
You going and when you got that title and when you carry that anointing, you gonna draw the attention and draw, different women. So it's definitely good to have a strong, helpmate, to help you and be on your side too. So
Man, I'll say this to you, man. I'll say this to you. I think this is why I take over the show right now.
Oh Lord.
I'll say this to you,
Uh-huh.
and I'll tell you that I'm grateful that you are the man you are. You walk in integrity.
Mm.
I'm gonna say this to you,
Mm-hmm.
that your mother is proud of you.
Mm.
Like straight up. She's proud of you. You could have been anywhere. You could have been doing anything. You walk around here with integrity, man.
Mm.
Like your name ain't out here in these streets. As a musician, it's some musicians out here that they name out in these metro streets. But your name ain't out here, man. And the way you father your children, the integrity that you hold.
Mm.
I'm telling your mom looking down on you, she proud of you. Because you could have been think about the stuff you should have been locked up for.
Man,
Think about it. Stuff you should have been like doing life or something.
for sure.
So all the prayer that she done prayed, the manifestation sits right here tonight,
Mm.
and to be doing what you're doing right now. Even the vision that you spoke about this podcast, and this thing is going to be so great, man, that it's going to help. do the things that you want to do. So
Wow.
stay focused, man.
Wow.
Stay focused.
Man, I appreciate that. And I received that, man.
Yeah,
And listen, man, right back at you, man. Your mom proud of you too.
definitely,
For
definitely.
everything you did. See, that's one of the bonds we got. We both lost our mom. Um and like I tell people, it don't get
Yeah,
easy.
I ain't trying to make you cry on your
Hey
podcast now,
man,
but I'm
listen.
just saying.
I'm trying not to cry.
But listen, man, listen,
Yeah.
you deserve to cry.
Right,
When
right,
you think about what you've been through, you look at how you've had to really put your life back together.
right,
Think about
right.
it. And if I'm gonna cry some tears, I'd rather cry those tears than to be crying over nothing. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? When you think about, shout out to the stepdads, when you think about how you have taken care of other people's children, bruh,
right.
that's golden.
Wow.
And that ain't gonna never stop. They ain't gonna never go nowhere. But so just know, man, you're on the right path, and just stay positive, man. You know, superheroes don't always wear capes,
Right.
but they got a heart. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So that's one thing I can say about you, that people don't know, that your heart is genuine.
wow. Man, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, he was trying to make me cry on purpose, man.
Nah,
That's but I receive it, man. I definitely do, man. And uh yeah, I appreciate you. Definitely. Um so now um I want to ask you a question. Um you being a pastor, being a preacher, right?
hmm
And I know this is probably not a question that preachers get asked, but if you had to name your favorite four preachers, your Mount Rushmore of preachers, pastors, bishops, preachers, prophets, prophetess, whatever, who would be your top four that you say? I'll say this, like maybe when you became a preacher or even before, you was like, oh man, like he somebody I liked, she somebody I like. You know what I'm saying? Who would be your top four?
Well, I ain't gonna say that on camera. Who would, who would be my top four?
Okay,
But I'll say some of the people that pretty much inspired me
right.
when it came to preaching.
Okay. So who inspired you?
And when you look back at it as a young man, man, I was listening to people like Jasper Williams,
Okay.
who was a preacher's preacher. One of the sermons he preached that I had on cassette tape. You can run, but you can't hide.
Mm,
And you know, people like that who have been, you know, uh, and that he's an Atlanta legend,
okay.
actually across the world. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to people like that. When you look at people like that, of course, G.E. Patterson,
Okay.
of course, Bishop Norman Hutchins, of course, serving as a mentor to me.
Right.
Um,
Man, shout out to our
yeah.
Bishop Norman, man.
So
Rest in peace.
yeah, and then um, not necessarily somebody who you would put in no top position, but when you look at um, just preaching style, that's and rest in peace to him too, Bishop Steve Hall.
Mm,
That was a preaching machine.
okay.
And there's plenty more out here. I ain't
Yeah.
finna sit here and name them like that. I'm
Right.
just saying, people, when you say, man, you know, people who have that gift of being able to, you know, grab the attention of people in their
Mm,
craft. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? And like I said, it's plenty more, but just
Right.
just in that alone, I
Okay.
would say
Yeah.
people
Nah.
that would be like, hey, because I can't preach like them.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
but you're not supposed to. So
Exactly. But if I could,
if you could, you would.
you
uh,
know,
okay. So now, after you talk about that, so we always play this game, right? At the end of the show,
hmm
it's a segment called "Pick Your Hero." So now this is not necessarily a versus,
Okay.
I name two names,
All right.
and then you pick which one. And this is the thing: when you pick the one you pick, it's not a diss to the other one. It's
Okay.
just more so your preference.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's your preference. It's just like basketball player, and your preference can be Kobe, and my preference can be LeBron, or vice versa. So just let's say these two preachers on TV right now, two different channels. Which one you gonna watch? You probably gonna record the other one and watch it later, but which one you gonna watch first? Bishop G.E. Patterson, Bishop Eddie Long.
I'm gonna put Bishop GE on the TV,
Okay,
and then I'm gonna watch Eddie Long on the phone.
okay, okay. Bet. So now Bishop Noel Jones, Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Same thing. I'm gonna watch both of them at the same time.
Okay, I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. All right. Prophetess Juanita Bynum or Pastor Paula White.
Well, now two different spectrums,
Uh-huh.
Um, and
Mm.
I like the prophetic flow of Juanita, so
Right.
I would probably pick Juanita.
Okay. All right. Dr. Jamal Bryant or Pastor E. Dewey Smith.
I got to have two TVs.
Shout out to both of them. All right. Gospel choir music. I'm sorry, gospel music or CCM music.
Believe it or not, I'm going straight gospel.
Okay.
CCM is cool,
Right.
but gospel is that's what touched your soul, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out gospel music. And shout out CCM too.
Yeah,
But I do love gospel,
yeah.
a little more. Okay, now I know which one you're gonna pick on this one.
Okay.
Gospel choir music or quartet music.
I'm going choir.
Oh wow.
I'm going choir.
I'm surprised. As
Yeah,
much as you love quartet.
I'm going choir because quartet kind of is the let me show out a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Choir, is more in unison. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So I'm going choir.
Okay. I respect that. I respect that. I respect that. All right. So last question, right? How do you feel about the church people, the church saints, the pastors, musicians, singers, etc.? How do you feel about them listening to secular music? And because if you listen to secular music, quote unquote, you're going to hell.
Okay.
Um, you know, I love to ask this to the people that's in the church or heavy in the church on the show, because like I tell people, at your wedding, it was love songs being played,
Mm-hmm.
which is secular music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, um, you're you're not gonna play Never Would Have Made It and slow dance with your wife in the kitchen at the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Never Would Have Made It is a great worship song, but that's not made for that. So how do you feel about listening to secular music as a pastor?
Well, here's what I tell everybody: all words have power,
Hmm.
whether they're spoken, whether they're being sung.
Hmm.
All words have power. What we have to learn to do is learn how to be rooted and grounded in God enough to know the difference of how to have the balance of what I'm listening to and what's not good for me. Now, some stuff that may have a lot of profanity. Listen, if you're the type of person that you cannot separate that,
Right,
then
right,
perhaps you don't need to listen to none of that.
right.
When it comes to love music, If it's gonna make you all, you know, uneasy, then perhaps maybe you don't need to listen to that.
Right.
It's all a balance. What goes in our ear gates is very, very important. And then we have to look at where you are in life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, for me, I like music, period. So I'm gonna listen to gospel music. I'm gonna listen to R&B music. I'm gonna listen to country music. I'm
Right.
gonna listen to Southern soul. I'm gonna listen to everything. But at the end of the day, I know what my soul can handle.
Mm.
There's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, you're saying listen to some of it, but you still need to watch the words
Yeah, you
as
got
far as the lyrics. Certain songs, hey, I shouldn't listen to this.
yeah.
I'm living in my house by myself, and this song gonna get you feeling some type of way.
Well, Sterling, here's the main thing.
Mhm.
It gets back to character.
Right.
Certain stuff don't fit your character.
Mm.
So if it don't fit your character, then why put it? Why listen to it? It's certain stuff. It's music out right now today that will never ever get played on my radio.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because it don't fit my character. That's the
Mm.
main thing that I look at. It don't fit my character.
Wow.
Who I am in God, who I am in private, who I am in public. Certain stuff just don't fit my character.
Mm.
But I heard something the other day that I thought was very clever. I heard Frankie Beverly come on, and the music started playing, and then it was a Marvin Sapp concert that Marvin started singing his lyrics to Frankie's track.
Right.
Amazing. Make all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
You getting. So it's not like I forget what Frankie is singing,
Right.
but then also remember the word that Marvin is saying, and the song that he was singing was "He Saw the Best in Me"
Mm.
to the Frankie Beverly track. He killed a house.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it goes to who you are as a person, your character. Now there are some people who allow music to control them, and if music controls you in such a way, you definitely need to be mindful of what you're singing
Mm.
and what you're hearing.
Yeah.
So
That's a great answer. Wow. Man, I appreciate that answer. That was dope. So now that we've come to the end of the show, so every guest that comes, right,
mhm.
we give something to them.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? So this is our way of giving flowers um, to our guests. This is our Grammy, our Stella.
okay,
So I got something for you. So basically, this right here, it says Superheroes Only Podcast presents the Superhero Award to Anthony Smith,
wow,
August 2025, man. So listen, man, you the superhero of the day.
man, I appreciate
You
that.
know what I'm saying? And
So is this where I'm supposed to do my? I want to give thanks to God. No,
yeah, man. So man, we appreciate you, man. So listen, tell the people where they can get a copy of the book. Um, and let them know.
okay. Well, thank you, man, again for this opportunity. Of course, the book is called Happiness Loves Company too, and this book came from me going through a series of different things in life, and I decided that the cliche has always been misery loves company. And I made a conscious decision within myself that misery doesn't even deserve my company. So that's how God gave me the title of this book called Happiness Loves Company too. Because you know what? Happiness is a choice, and you got to choose that for yourself. Don't depend on anybody to make you happy. You have to have your own happiness, and they bring their own happiness, and then y'all put it all together and you make out what God would want it to be. And so this book can be found on all different platforms. Right now I got some different marketing promotion that's going on that'll be coming out real soon, so stay tuned. We look forward to you guys getting this book, reading it, It's an amazing book, and this way I get to tell my own story of how I chose happiness over misery.
Mm. Hey man, make sure you guys get a copy of the book. You know, and listen, if you see him in the street, man, he will sign it. And
Definitely.
listen, please don't ask him for a discount, and please don't ask him for a free copy. Make sure we support our people, man. So it's a lot of great books out there. Um, a lot of you guys know him personally. So if you know him personally and you don't have the book, you know you ought to be ashamed. So make sure y'all get the
Definitely.
book, man.
Pull
And
up to the church. We'll get it.
pull up, man. Nehemiah on Irish Drive, man. So listen, man, Smith, man, we appreciate you coming through.
Man, thank you, man.
Yeah, man, you can stop by anytime, man. And listen, man, it's another episode, Superheroes Only Podcast. Listen, real superheroes don't wear capes. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate you guys. Let's go.